Welcome back to KO News, and in this video, we're taking a deep dive into some of the most controversial, intriguing, and downright surprising stories in the MMA world. If you love the rush of unexpected fight news, dramatic rivalries, and inside scoops about your favorite athletes, you've come to the right place. Before we jump headfirst into the chaos of what's going on, make sure you give this video a like. It really helps support the channel. And stick around until the end, because I'll be asking you to comment your own thoughts so you can be featured in a future video. There's a lot to unpack here, from rumors that Conor McGregor might be finished for good, to Bryce Mitchell's unnerving talk about demons, and even Robert Whittaker contemplating a potential move up in weight. We'll also touch on plenty of other fighters and storylines that are dominating the headlines, and by the end, you'll feel like you've been caught in a whirlwind of UFC drama. So let's get started and explore every corner of this ever-evolving MMA universe. First, let's address the question on everyone's lips. Is Conor McGregor truly done for good? This man is arguably the most famous MMA fighter on the planet, and his name alone draws massive pay-per-view numbers every single time. But over the last couple of years, it's been one thing after another. Talk of comebacks, TUF coaching gigs, rumored matchups with Michael Chandler, or even Manny Pacquiao in boxing. And yet, no official fight date has been confirmed. Charles Oliveira, a man who's walked into the octagon time and time again with all eyes on him, recently declared that fans should forget about Conor altogether, suggesting that McGregor is basically living his life without any real intention of returning to the grind of actual MMA combat. And Oliveira isn't the only one expressing doubts. Many have pointed out that there's been no official announcement regarding McGregor re-entering the USADA testing pool, which is typically a requirement for anyone hoping to compete under UFC rules unless there's some extraordinary exemption. The speculation has fans divided. On one side, you have the die-hard supporters who insist it's only a matter of time until Conor re-emerges, possibly bigger and stronger than ever. On the other side, you have realists, perhaps cynics, who believe the man has nothing left to prove and has found other lucrative projects to occupy his energy. Between whiskey ventures, endorsements, charity events, and constant social media presence, McGregor hardly needs to step back into the cage for financial reasons. But maybe fighting isn't just about money for him. Maybe it's about legacy, proving his doubters wrong, or testing himself at the highest level. So the question remains, is Conor finished? Or is he biding his time until the UFC offers something he can't refuse? For now, Oliveira's stance that he's done, fans should forget about him, stirs the pot. Whether it's a call-out strategy or genuine conviction, it's got the entire MMA community talking nonstop. Love him or hate him, McGregor's name always commands attention. Meanwhile, we have a bizarre storyline courtesy of Bryce Mitchell, known for his grappling, his country boy charm, and a unique perspective on life. Lately, Bryce posted footage exploring abandoned mines to find what he calls lizard people. He filmed himself climbing down shaky ladders, plunging hundreds of feet into darkness, uncovering bones and other creepy finds. But as odd as that sounds, it's overshadowed by Mitchell's recent statements about his upcoming opponent, Gene Silva. Bryce claims Silva is possessed by demons, and that he's endured recurring nightmares since their press conference, with legions of evil entities attacking him in his sleep. Bryce publicly asked his Christian followers to pray for him, citing biblical verses and spiritual warfare. To him, this is no joke. He appears deeply concerned. On the flip side, Jean Silva brushes it all off, suggesting Bryce is simply nervous. Silva says the beautiful women haunting Bryce's dreams likely stem from basic human urges rather than demonic influence. He also declared that come fight night, he'll expose Bryce's fears for what they are. Whether you believe Bryce's claims or think it's a publicity angle, you can't deny it adds serious intrigue. Mitchell has turned this matchup into a spectacle, hinting it's a battle of good versus evil. It's either going to propel him to an unforgettable performance or distract him from the task at hand. In other developments, Robert Whittaker, a former middleweight champion who's fought some of the best in the sport, says he plans one more fight at 185 before possibly moving up to light heavyweight. That's a big leap, since the 205-pound division is full of dangerous names. Top strikers, powerful wrestlers, and champions with knockout power. According to Whittaker, a final victory at middleweight could be the confidence boost he needs to challenge the likes of bigger, heavier athletes. Fans are excited but also cautious. We saw Israel Adesanya struggle with the size advantage when he took on Błachowicz. Whittaker, of course, has strong grappling in his arsenal, but it's still a risk. If he succeeds, we could see an entirely different phase of Whittaker's career, and maybe even a shot at a new belt. Looking at the welterweight division, Leon Edwards and Sean Brady are set to clash at UFC London in what many believe could rewrite the top of the rankings. Edwards has been on fire lately, shocking the world by dethroning Kamaru Usman and asserting himself as a dominant force. Brady, who was undefeated before a recent setback, is determined to show he belongs at the pinnacle. A win for Edwards would further cement his reign, while a Brady victory would turn the division on its head. Stylistically, Edwards' sharp striking meets Brady's relentless grappling. One misstep could decide the outcome. This matchup is shaping up to be a must-watch, and the ripple effects will be felt throughout the welterweight hierarchy. Then there's Islam Makhachev, stirring conversation by demonstrating a fierce new choke on a younger partner in Dagestan. Opinions vary. Some applaud his constant innovation, others worry he might go too hard on less experienced fighters. But the consensus remains that Makhachev is evolving rapidly. He's following the path of Khabib Nurmagomedov, mixing elite wrestling with ever-improving stand-up. If he perfects this new submission, yet another threat awaits anyone who steps in the cage with him. Lightweight is stacked, but Makhachev stands near the top, and every training clip that surfaces adds to his formidable aura. Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett claims he crossed paths with Colby Covington at a power slap event and found Covington oddly quiet, refusing eye contact. That's the polar opposite of the loud, brash persona Colby presents to the world. Michael Bisping and Paul Felder, however, confirm Colby's actually polite and soft-spoken off-camera, suggesting he's playing a character to keep himself relevant and marketable. Ever since he risked being cut by the UFC due to lackluster fan interest, Covington's adopted this heel persona, and it worked. He became a top contender and one of the most talked about figures at welterweight. But can he keep it up forever, especially if it conflicts with who he really is? Carlos Ulberg is making news too. He's set to fight Jan Błachowicz at UFC London and boldly predicts a knockout. That's a gutsy statement, considering Jan's known for his legendary durability and heavy hands. Ulberg thinks an impressive finish will catapult him into the title conversation. If he takes out a former champ, he'll instantly become a major player at light heavyweight. Of course, Błachowicz won't go down easily, so this is a classic case of an up-and-comer trying to dethrone a proven veteran. Roman Dolidze recently bested Marvin Vettori by unanimous decision, then immediately challenged Israel Adesanya. Aljamain Sterling even chimed in, predicting Roman would submit Izzy if he takes him down. That's a bold claim, considering Adesanya's formidable takedown defense and lethal striking, but Dolidze's self-assurance is growing by the day. If the fight materializes, the striker versus grappler dynamic will keep fans on the edge of their seats. In MMA, anything can happen, especially if one fighter finds an opening to exploit. Dricus du Plessis, meanwhile, couldn't resist a dig at Alex Pereira after Pereira's loss to Magomed Ankalaev. Dricus claims Pereira lost his aura, that intimidating factor that once surrounded him. Still, du Plessis acknowledges a fight with Pereira would be both lucrative and potentially beneficial. Ankalaev, for his part, remains open to a rematch, signaling there's unfinished business. One loss can drastically change how fans and fighters see you. Just ask Pereira, who soared to the top before suffering a tough defeat. A comeback fight could revive his mystique or confirm doubts about his vulnerability. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, not only took a swipe at McGregor's absence, but also teased a possible fight with Ilia Topuria. Oliveira believes he can knock Topuria out, highlighting the Brazilian's blend of striking and grappling. Topuria, for his part, is an emerging force who's looked unstoppable, though he hasn't faced someone of Oliveira's caliber yet. If they ever square off, expect fireworks, because both are known for pushing the pace and hunting for finishes. All these stories speak to how fast the MMA landscape can shift. One upset, one call-out, one bizarre social media post can launch a fighter to the spotlight or knock them off their perch. Fans are addicted to the drama, the surprise factor, and the sheer intensity of combat. Every time we think we've seen it all, someone like Bryce Mitchell starts talking about demon possession, or Conor McGregor hints at a comeback that may or may not happen. It's why we keep watching, analyzing, and debating, because unpredictability is baked into the sport's DNA. So let's wrap it up. Conor McGregor might be done, or maybe he's just lying low until a big opportunity calls. Bryce Mitchell's demons could be a real spiritual battle or a psychological burden, or both. Robert Whittaker might shake up 2 divisions if he decides to move to light heavyweight. Leon Edwards could continue reigning supreme at welterweight, or Sean Brady might wrestle that momentum away. Islam Makhachev's new choke might be unstoppable, or it might just be another layer of hype. Colby Covington stays polarizing as ever, And Carlos Ulberg is out to prove he can knock off big names. Roman Dolidze is chasing Israel Adesanya, Dricus du Plessis is poking at Alex Pereira, and Charles Oliveira is eyeing fresh challenges while dismissing McGregor's future. That's just a snapshot of the swirling MMA scene. A swirl you, as a fan, help keep alive. I want to hear what you think. Is Conor McGregor's chapter really closed, or is there another epic comeback in the works? Can Bryce Mitchell convert his haunting dreams into a gritty performance? Or will Gene Silva prove it's all smoke and mirrors? Will Whittaker truly excel at light heavyweight, or is he biting off more than he can chew? And which fight are you most excited about at UFC London? Drop your answers in the comments below. Your opinions might get featured in an upcoming video. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the breakdown, and hit that subscribe button, turning on notifications so you never miss a single update from KO News. Thanks for hanging out, and get ready for more controversies, callouts, and cage wars on the horizon.